Welcome to the workshop. Hi, this is the first of 2 or 3 videos I'm doing on the use of the Womadod drill guide, doweling guide, whatever you like to call it, and its accessories. First thing I'll be demonstrating is how to use the guide block on its own. I'll also show how we can use these indexing pins to continue a row of holes, and the offset bar for if we want to space the holes out a little further. Watch out for the rest of the videos, which should appear quite soon. So first of all, let's drill a hole in this position here. I've just marked it where I want it. It could be anywhere on this board. To line up the guide, first spike the centre of the hole with a brad point bit or a centre punch, like so. Place the drill bit through the appropriate sized guide hole, pop it into the mark you made, lower the guide down, and then clamp securely to the workbench. Replace the drill bit and drill the hole. First hole, absolutely spot on. Absolutely plumb. The second hole we're going to drill is at the intersection of 2 layout lines. This one here and this one along here. We can locate that with the block by using the scribed edges and ends, which mark the centres of the holes in both sides of the block. We're doing 6mm here, so I'm following the 6mm scribe round the block, lining it up with the marking line here, also on the back, and as a double check on the end of the block. Once we've got all 3 in position, we know we're in the right place. And it's a case of clamping the work again. Drop the drill in and drill. We have a hole perfectly aligned on the intersection of those 2 layout lines. Once again, because of the way the block's been prepared, that hole is nice and plumb. I'm going to demonstrate the indexing pin now. So we can, if we wanted 4 6mm holes an inch apart, we could set up for the one hole, clamp and drill all 4. But if we've already drilled a hole, to make sure that we lay out correctly with that, an inch apart, put the index pin through the block, drop it into the previous hole. That lines us up nicely. We then will make any difference to the rotation here. If we have 2 holes in a line and want to join another one up, we can use another index pin, or this is another part of the kit. It's a 6mm bar which drops in, and that will drop into the next hole to line everything up. But we just have the one, and we can line that up with the scribe mark and the marking outline that we had at the end. Reclamp the work, and actually let's put this hole 3 inches away from the first one. So we'll use the 4th hole along, drop the drill in and drill. Now we have 2 holes spaced on a line exactly 3 inches apart. If we wanted to continue that line, we can leave the index pin in, drop it into that next hole, and then just keep repeating along the line. If we want to lay out to a different spacing than simply 1 inch or 3 inches, 2 inches that's on the block, this next little accessory comes in handy. This bar screws into the end of the block, is locked with a nut, and it has on it a rotating and freely movable indexing pin with both a 6mm and an 8mm end on it. To index off this first hole, we can put the index point in there, set the distance apart that we want, whatever it may be, lock it off with the knurled screw, line everything up, clamp the work and drill. And I think you can see that gives us a big range of motion, and we can make this bar as long as we like. Also, as I said, the opposite end of this has got an 8mm indexing pin on it for when we're doing 8mm holes. The end bar and index pin also comes in handy for setting holes a certain distance from the end of a workpiece. We take one measurement, and in this case I'm doing 10 centimeters. Mark it on the work, move the score line for the hole that we're going to use onto that mark, and move the index pin in so that it contacts the end of the work. Lock the index pin, and now every time we bring it in, bring the jig into the work, it will settle at 10 centimeters. And we can repeat that as often as we like. If we were drilling shelf supports, perhaps for a bookcase, we might like to set our index pin for something like the average book height. Drill 3 holes for adjustability, 3 or 4 holes for adjustability, then offset with the index pin, drill another 3 or 4 holes for the next shelf up, move it along again, and drill another lot. You'll have uniformly spaced multiple holes for your shelf supports. In the next video I shall be using a fence on the block and showing you what can be done with that. That's easy to set up using some 6mm and 8mm bolts which pass through the guide holes, and the fence can then be adjusted on and clamped with those bolts. So I'll see you next time.